I'd like to call the first ad hoc economic development advisory committee meeting to order. And I'd like to thank all of you for putting in applications to join us. It was a very contested, or maybe not contested is the word, but there was a lot of pictures. And you all rose to the top, so thank you. I think Bill has some business.
Yeah, I've got to leave. I'm double booked tonight. The other one's more interesting. Driving gun club. Anyway, I want to thank you all for volunteering for this. Like I said, we had to eliminate some people that also were qualified too. This is something I've been pushing for over 5 years, is his job. And last year, without any discussion, hardly, everyone agreed to it. And we finally got Aaron on charge, and get going on this. This, I think, is probably the most important job in town right now. That we have to expand our tax base. Things people want to move into town here, there's a couple things against us. And one is that we get high taxes, get a bad school system, and it keeps people out. We also are shortage of housing now. Aaron can't find a place. And my priorities are to get some business in here to help with the tax base, spreading it out. And secondly, and maybe first, some middle income housing. I've asked through Dennis to have Aaron look into some developers that would put in 30, 40 middle income housing units for us, because they just can't find places to live. But it's not anything unusual to this town, but a lot of the places in Maine. And some of the places that are for sale aren't that good either, the price is way out of range. A lot of people, young people, can't afford the down payment on a house now, so for quite a few years now, I think it's gonna be a lot of rentals. So again, I want to thank you. It's very important, and I wish you good luck. I'm out of here. Have fun.
You talk, Bill.
Take care, thank you.
I think that Bill said what our charge is very succinctly in a very eloquent way. So I'll just take that mission and run with it. I think we have to do some housekeeping stuff. It's going to be a little boring today, and what I want to talk a little bit about is sort of the next steps and what I think we should do, and then and how we get to some of the stuff that Bill's talking about. And I know that there'll be some disagreements, and I think how we get to where Bill's going with it. But I think we have to go through a process to do that. To develop some sort of consensus. And so I think we have to come up with a plan. And we actually haven't done in 2000. I found it on the shelf haphazardly one day while talking to the code officer. And it's actually pretty good. I have copies, I'm having copies made, and I'll have you all read it. And it's basically the process that I'd like to go through with you guys. And it's a SWOT analysis, and I'll talk about it later. But I guess the first thing is we have to go over like the rules of how we operate, I guess. And that's really important. This is something we're kind of charging with as the chair. I have to make sure that we do things right. So I gave everybody a handbook. Um. I'm not gonna like read this thing to you, just use it as a point of reference, but this is sort of like. You know, and I also don't wanna be like. You know, how do you say it? Your fifth grade teacher. You know, can scold you, so I'm just.
I might as well help you into the cloakroom right now. It's great.
So, anyways. I'm just a partner here, and I'm actually kind of like the helper worker who, I see myself here as a staff liaison. And, I'm here to help create a dialogue, create an agenda, and, help give you direction, and then you're part to inform on which way you think we should go. And so that's where I feel like my role is. And, these are sort of the rules of the road, and we have to agree to them. Because the select board told us this is what we have to follow. And some of it's state law. So, you know, but anyways, you know, there's some rules about how we've been appointed. So that's what we did, you know, we read this through, there's an appointment process. We have to, in the agenda, you'll see, we have to elect officers. There's one thing that is a little odd here. And I have to say, the select board violated their own rules. They made me the chair. So I am a staff liaison, the way this is written, and, I've never seen this before, but, the way this is written is normal. But when I proposed the Economic Development Committee to the board, they insisted that I be the chair of the staff liaison. And that's the new thing that I never really dealt with. I've always been the guy behind the scenes, like the Wizard of Oz, you know, and so.
Or Richelieu, the cardinal.
So but so anyways, I see the vice chair in this role to be kind of like a co-chair. So whoever's the vice chair will act as sort of a co-chair in this endeavor. And, so we're going to elect a co-chair.
Well, it says Bill's the co-chair. He's the vice chair, right?
Select board vice chair.
Select board vice chair.
Select.
So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
And then, we have to have a clerk secretary, somebody like. So that's the rules, and so then there's some rules about like. Posting the notice of meetings, and that's really kind of the chair's role, so that's really my business, and then. What to take notes on. That would be a secretary business, and I would work with the secretary. I think the other rules of the road that we probably should just talk about, so we don't get in trouble. Is communications. I know it's really easy for us to get going on the conversation. I gave you all our emails. But there's a state law called the Maine Freedom of Access Act. Does everybody know that? I won't go into it in too much detail, but basically it governs how we communicate with each other. And so we really shouldn't be having too many discussions over email. It'd be nice, you know, if I sent out an email like I did for this meeting and tell everybody that it's on Sunday. And Evan informs me that that's a Sunday, and you know, that's a good email, right? But if we start going into policy discussions and start talking about, you know, what we should do about the Old Ferry Road or something like that, we probably shouldn't be doing that. And because all our discussions are public record. Um, And the public to open meeting law. So just keep that in mind. And even your personal emails, your personal phones. So just keep that in mind.
Are you looking at me for a particular?
Oh, no, sorry.
I just kind of felt thirsty. I don't know why.
You got that principal's office intercom feeling?
No.
Yeah.
I wanted to
Yeah.
announce.
I think we're all-
This is not a cold. I don't blame you. As soon as he's gone.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Um,
You told me that.
I feel like I'm missing something here. This, something else, go back to this. I think I am missing the page. We'll get into that one, which I felt like. Any questions? with that? You know what? I forgot something. Maybe we should just go around the room and introduce,
It's like a roll call. or something.
yeah,
Okay.
and just like tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're here and that kind of thing. So. Well, my name's Aaron. I'm the new economic development director. I've been here now a whopping 5 months. And I used to be a town manager in a couple of different towns. But most recently, I was there. Saw this position, I was really excited about the opportunity, and I just think that economic development is something that I've always had an interest in. When you manage small towns, you don't really get to do specialize in anything, you just have to do, you're a generalist, so you do a little bit of everything. And so you put your hands on a little bit of everything, and it's not all that exciting, believe me, and it got a little stressful. And so I think when I saw this opportunity, it excited me. One of the reasons it excited me was the opportunities here. I think Wiscasset has remarkable infrastructure. You know, I think we talked about this a little bit in our interviews. And I just think that has has an opportunity to grow. And basically, you know, how Bill was just talking about some of our goals, it has opportunities to achieve a lot of these things. You know, to overcome the shortage of housing, increase the tax base, get better schools, and lower taxes. I think we can do that. Now, hear me out. You have to be patient. You can't do it in 1 year, you can't do it in 2 years, and you can't do it in 5 years. You might do it in 5 years. But it takes a plan, and you have to follow the plan, and you have to work on that plan. So what we do here today is important. So we need to lay the groundwork for the future. And that's what I think. But anyways, that's why we're here. So anyways, looking forward to working with you all. Thanks.
I'm Evan Gutkowski, I think I know a handful of you. I want to introduce myself. I have to try and figure out who I am today. Because I wear too many hats in too many places. So I am the assessor's agent in Westport Island. I'm also a consultant for fiber optic broadband projects for Knox, Lincoln, and Saginaw County. I've been working for 3 years basically to build out some fiber projects. I've had a little bit of success, and we're on the cusp of something big happening for Wiscasset and the rest of Lincoln counties. So hopefully that's a thing that will happen soon. I'm also in the water district. I have a family Christmas tree and wreath business that we run in Woolwich. I'm sure I'll think of something later. Something else I forgot. That's the gist of this week.
I'm Elisa Ethan. I'm somewhat new to Wiscasset. We bought our house about 4.5 years ago. I'm a lawyer, not a Maine lawyer, so I won't be giving you legal advice. I'm on the president of the Wiscasset Creative Alliance. I run the home tour and support all of our other activities, Art Walk, Worm Fest, if you haven't heard about that, Schooner Fest, the Market Fest in the winter, etc. And I have 2 children, one of whom lives here along with a grandchild. So all of these things are very important because, you know, it's not really about most of us in this room, it's really about that next generation. So, making sure it's a good place for them.
My name is Richard Malaby. I'm new to Wiscasset. I came here in September of 22. And unlike these people, I don't do anything, and I'm very good. With that having been said, I lived in Hancock for some 40+ years. I founded an economic development group that was countywide and had a number of successes with attracting funding for the airport, a couple of hotels, Army Corps, dredging. All these took, as Aaron said, years, but they happened. I did that for probably 5 or 6 years while running my business, and then I had to get away from it because it became too much. I couldn't run my business and get involved with economic development, so I stopped in 21 years ago, 2003 or 4. So it's dear to my heart. When my wife said there was a call for people, I said I'd be happy to do it. And I look forward to it. I moved here, I don't know if I mentioned it, to be closer to my children. I have a daughter in Brunswick and a son just over the border in New Hampshire, and grandchildren here and there, and it's all good.
Fred Quivy, we've been residents of the town for probably the last 15 years. We had bought the home 20 years ago. It was our vacation home, and then it turned into the retirement home, as it does for a lot of people. And I've been actively retired since 2010. Before that, I was involved heavily in college and university administration, specifically in finance, construction, operations, investments. That's my shtick.
Pat Cloutier. Presently, I'm the chamber manager of the Wiscasset Area Chamber. I've been with them for 13 years. Previous, I spent 30 years in the corporate world. And one of my customers was LL Bean, so I spent a lot of time in Maine schmoozing and taking them to press. They'd have to come on press to check that everything was okay, and anyway, very interesting. And then 11 years in adult ed between Madomic Valley High School and Wiscasset High School. And I am on a number of various groups because I'm in the Lincoln County Regional Planning Office, of which Mary Ellen Barnes has been very instrumental in grabbing me to be involved in many things. So, and I can never refuse her because she's always so wonderful to work with. So my interest, of course, is concerning the businesses and our nonprofits, individuals who belong to the chamber, and seeing the prosperity of Wiscasset. There's a lot that can be done. It's very complex. And I think that we probably have to figure out what the priorities are and how we can go about making some successes.
I'm Kim Dolce. I'm here in 2016, renovated, an old carriage house downtown. And that has since been sold, and we renovated another house, also in Wiscasset. I've served on the budget committee 3 years, yes. I thought this would be an interesting sort of next step, something a little more involved than just going over budgets. And I'm not contagious, this is Allison's. I asked her, as I started to sneak away.
I'm Sherry Dunbar. I grew up here. I saw real estate here now, but I've been involved in lots of different committees and organizations and stuff through the year. Also on the Chamber of Commerce, I'm a founding member, board member, still there and enjoy that. Business obviously is very important to me. That's all part of economic development. Having lived in this town and grown up here, raised my family, my granddaughter goes to school here. I have a lot of interest and passion and love for this town, and I want to see it do well. And that's one of the reasons I'm here.
Great, thank you. Any questions so far? You guys want anything else you want to offer? No. Right. You probably want to do election of officers. Do you want to feel like you're comfortable doing that now, or do you want to wait?
Yeah, we can do it now.
All right,
Sure.
anybody want to nominate anybody for vice chair?
Kim, how would you like to be vice chair?
I would rather not. Well, actually, I kind of was bracing myself for this or the secretary position. I have committed myself to doing whatever research is involved in whatever we are discussing within the committee. But I am currently dealing with probate in 2 states, and any additional paperwork would be a little more than I can handle. So, but thank you so much, Fred.
I'm only doing 1 probate,
Would you?
so I'm right behind you.
Okay. Would you be interested?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I also served on the budget committee and was the secretary of the budget
Me
committee
too.
for 3 years, so. No,
Yeah, I served on the budget committee for many years. Yes.
You know, Richard, you might know what the job entails.
Yes.
I might, but I'm not comfortable telling you about anything about Wisconsin. You know, I've been there a year and a half.
Okay,
Well, I
it's
don't
more
think
about
you have to,
organization.
I don't think that you have to give us a history of
Well, that's
Wisconsin.
good, because I
We're like-
certainly not qualified.
No, we're like any other town.
Well, I don't even know my way around, but.
That's okay, we can give you a
You
map.
can do it. Chair.
I have a wonderful guidebook. It's all kinds of information and
I
maps.
can tell you just off the info desk.
This came out of left field.
I think we could reel him in.
I think it sounded like.
Yeah.
You just have to run the meetings kind of thing. You don't have to,
And that's only if Aaron's gone.
Right.
right, you don't have to.
Yeah, the vice chair is really just the,
Kind of
Just tell me
insightful
now.
questions, you don't have
yeah,
to.
Right, you can like
Yeah.
help fill out the
You're our guy.
agenda and, yeah.
I'll be calling you though, to like talk to you about the.
No, we can't discuss that. You already told us.
Procedural,
Procedure.
Freedom of
yes,
access.
it's all procedural.
Reading the agenda for the meeting is
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
acceptable.
Whatever.
all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we have a vice chair.
Do we have to
Congratulations,
vote, or
thank
do-
you.
do we
Yeah, we
just-
probably should vote.
I nominate Richard to be vice chair.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
That's great.
No thanks.
Did I hear you say you'd be secretary?
No, that
Oh,
was the one, I was afraid that if Bill was sitting here, he was gonna nominate me for that.
Well, who's good at taking notes?
Oh, I
Not
know.
me.
Alyssa. Definitely.
Alyssa?
Alyssa.
Oh, no, actually, I'm horrible at it.
No, I have a sense that you're gonna be really good at it.
No, I am here to say that I just listen to you all and I keep it in my head. I don't take notes.
I'm like you.
Yeah,
I would not make.
I am horrible at it.
So Alyssa,
Is this a race to the bottom?
Yeah, better believe it.
It's a Lisa, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's okay.
Sorry.
Yes.
let's go over what needs to go in the minutes. It is a little thing here, for the present.
Can't we just show we're taking this, so can't we just,
Yeah, but no, we need to actually minutes.
It's a written summarized record of the proceedings.
You know.
Does it really only have to have things we vote on?
You know,
And people-
I'm gonna have to give you a new thing, apparently, this photocopied every other page, sorry.
That's right. I photocopied the odd one, so I'm now.
All right. It was missing something, I think it had.
It is 29 pages.
Yeah, I was starting to look at it, and thinking to myself, there's missing something,
I didn't happen to notice.
all right.
No,
I just thought it
Well,
was
the appendices are
organized.
great. Oh, couldn't put it down.
Let's see.
Now I'm dying to know what appendix H is.
You are?
I think I had mine removed.
So,
Purchasing policy.
Should
you print it that one?
No, type A personalities and secretaries don't work.
minimum of
Maybe.
minutes must include a list of committee members present and absent. The names of others present when relevant, the date and time convened and location and time adjourned. All motions and votes, agreements and decisions reached by consensus assignments mentioned are topics discussed. Summaries of discussion recommended as these are helpful in understanding decisions or provide factual information that may be useful to the committee. But by statute, really, it's the first things, you don't really have to have like dictated notes, or really the whole
Who's there with the most
discussion. You just really put the motions, and like the dates and times and locations of where, and the names of people who are here. So, I mean, I'll type up the first set of minutes and then,
That would be a great template. Thank you.
If that's all you want.
That's the only thing I really need.
Correct.
Yeah, things that you.
Only when you're upset.
What's your middle name?
I mean, we're.
Whatever you're asking, whatever you want, that page or the whole thing.
It probably should give everywhere. Wow.
Okay, so if that's really all you want, I can do that.
Oh.
Right. But if you want, like, you know, Jerry said, and then Kim said, and then. I'll include the fisticuffs, but that's it, you know?
Gossip stuff. It was the broadband committee and I keep it very succinct.
Okay,
They are-
that I can do,
they
that's
are-
what I'm doing here,
I
it's just
came,
like,
I saw, I
the-
conquered. That's it.
that's right,
The
yeah.
rest- The rest is meditations.
Why are on some committees that have pages of
No.
minutes, and it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't do that.
We want beef.
Okay,
And then again, who wants to read all of that?
well, yeah, but then I have to read it and make corrections.
If they wanna know about it, they can watch the tape.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So somebody should make a motion.
I make a motion that Alyssa be.
Lisa,
I'll
Lisa.
second it. Are you getting that?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's doing it now.
John can take it over.
Slow start. I have a lot of expectations here.
Shall we vote?
Evan made the motion on Richard.
You got it.
We gotta do, thanks, by the way.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
Aye. There, I voted.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you all.
I think we should have.
Unanimous,
Yes.
or unanimous.
Pat was the motion, Sherry was the second.
All said yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let me- Let's do that, please. We're not gonna approve this tonight, but we can, just. Begin reviewing it, and this is just a draft. Feel free to bring it home with a pen. I just took in the community handbook. There was a proposed, what do you want to call it, bylaw. So I use that as a basis and then I edited it for our purposes. And I used some language that I had from other bylaws that I had in the past. But I thought was useful. And then. I don't know. So, maybe we should seriously consider talking about what our purpose is. I mean, we've kind of already talked about that. Well, actually, that's the next item. But,
Mr. Chairman, I have a procedural request,
yes, sir.
and to the vice chair. Any document we distribute, somewhere usually on the bottom, it says just the distribution date.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm used to. Sure. Yeah, it's part of it, I think,
I
personally.
will,
It's good, it's a good.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be an excuse for everything.
Well, I'm developing an allergy too. I'm following your lead.
So on the side, are you, like a stand-up comedian?
No, I've been asked to leave a lot of nightclubs, so, you know.
So your first terms aren't all 3-year terms, so you can see that too. And the way you pick, there's like put your names in the hat. And Dennis picked. That's how the terms got decided. So anyways. Where's that button? And I think that's in the browser, you can see what your term is.
That's very exciting because I'll be eating that here.
Whoa.
Exciting.
Well, that was a big celebration.
Yeah, alive.
Are we gonna have to apply again in a few days?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll have to
Yeah.
do that.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Wait a minute, hold on.
I mean, we don't have to do like a big interview process or anything, it's just a simple email, like.
A renewal,
What?
a renewal?
Yeah, this would just be a reappointment, and.
Well, will you actually technically, since there were more people interested in these positions than there were positions, will you have to look beyond and make well, obviously it goes public. We now have a vacancy coming up on 6/30/24.
No, I don't think so, because the committee's just
Okay,
going. I did look through the manual on the meeting. And, the way the decision, the actual language in there, where did I put that, is really up to the discretion of the select board. And,
Okay.
It's really based on how the committee members working out, the needs of the committee. And, since the committee hasn't really started yet, I think,
Well, I was more concerned about losing Lisa. Let's be
Yeah, we
frank.
can't-
You know, the rest of it is like window dressing, so.
Yeah, exactly.
anyways,
You can see, what do you think?
Values you.
Yeah, because I did the job and he didn't. I know how that's.
section 4 is the one that I added in. This was my language that I used, from another committee in Wayne. I actually named it after an individual, but anyways. So what I'd like to do is just kind of go over this a little bit, but have orderly meetings, it takes. Obviously, there's some rules that I want to follow and try and do that. I mean, I want to be light to have a team to be light, so, obviously, I want to have fun. But I also want to make sure that we're all respectful, and we try, when we get into like real discussions, we don't interrupt each other. We try and listen to each other, and things like that. One person speaks at a time, I'll recognize them. If you disagree with ideas, it's not about the person, it's just about the idea. Avoid criticism. Avoid too much repetition, things like that. What else?
We're missing page 4, if you didn't say that already.
Really, listen? Wonderful.
You need a secretary.
I'm reading today. All right.
I had page 2.
All right, now, don't forget that.
Was there more? Was there?
Members must uphold and abide by the town's anti-harassment.
No, but I mean, like.
And I think that's.
Oh,
Yeah, I know
words.
you like such things, so we're gonna stay with that.
All right, well, geez.
It's okay, we get it.
The
The inference is all there.
board member just look at it. Sir. The last part was just,
So then, so is,
what's up?
well, this says page 1, page 3, page 5, so are we missing page 2 as well?
Yeah.
Oddly enough, yes.
I will email you this.
Even though this okay, so there's just more to
This is
section
Article
3. Yeah.
I'll email about.
Okay.
I apologize.
And this one as well, you'll email
Yeah.
the rest, okay.
Yeah, I did.
You have an administrative assistant.
Oh, next.
It was hard enough.
Yeah, and then you can find them.
You got it, electronic.
I'll just.
Yeah, I
You'll have it.
Get that, did you get that?
You literally have it.
Oh, maybe I haven't.
I looked because I saw in the agenda review and adopt committee bylaws, and your note had said you were still working on it. And I
Yeah,
looked at
actually-
my email and I couldn't find it.
This afternoon.
Okay, so you did, how did Fred think?
I have the,
We have ways.
I have the agenda, the committee handbook, and the committee directive.
Yeah, director. Yeah, I emailed all those.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't
all
get
those,
that?
No.
Really?
I checked today to see if you had sent,
It was long ago.
and I'm on, whoops,
Yes.
You should be on. the
I'm
list.
on there,
Isn't that this, right?
yeah.
Well, I'll make
Like the word law.
Oh,
What's it on
That was
the
March
the
20th.
20th of March?
Yeah.
well, let's go over the roster, that roster, and make sure. Did I send you, make sure all that.
Did you come up with something? Did you find that out?
These are the full pages of the handbook.
Oh, great. Perfect.
You do have.
Yeah, it's proof that Evan knows how to use the computer.
I've got the Wi-Fi in the printer, so.
That's why he's.
He's all good.
Did you just print like that all that quick?
Yeah,
Wow.
Unfortunately,
But
it's
you have an
not.
impressive printer.
More important,
No, we already got you.
he's probably, and most importantly, he's
No
probably got
backpack.
a PIN number to get it in the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was on budget, I had to go find people.
Yeah, you're right, the agenda, it's the body of the.
Not understood.
Actually, I will take it.
What else do you want to read? Is that, used in that sense?
Was that the only one that came out?
Yeah, nothing came.
Oh, nothing came out.
Yeah,
Oh,
when I
okay.
started printing today, I hit the wrong button.
Yeah.
But I think it's not.
No, I don't.
So
think-
suffice it to say, like civil discourse here.
Yeah, got it, very simple. That's my really foolish role. And,
Accent on the word civil.
yes. Everything's gonna be printed out correctly, apparently. The community directive. And, I'm just gonna give you some news, factoids. And I did print these out amazingly, correctly, before the meeting. So I'm not sure how I did that. And not these other ones. So this is, some information about, from the SBA. I met with the representative today for Small Business Administration. And, she was talking about the disaster loans. I mean,
Yeah, Monica?
yeah, oh, you know,
No, I,
oh, you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it. Nice, she was trying to get hold of you and, I told her I'd see you tonight and pass on to you.
Yeah.
Anyways, there's disaster loans available, for businesses and nonprofits and, homeowners and renters. And if there's anybody that have physical damage or, economic damage or, from the storm that was in January. There's an application process and,
yes, that information has been in the newsletter, so.
If anybody has any questions, they can call me and I'll gladly help them through the process.
Oh, how many
And
pages?
then,
Well, they get,
the big news is the comp plan. Jerry was also.
So this is the.
reports. Yeah.
You said 29.
It was
That's
fast.
it, yeah, like, Clayton was Cassie.
Yes.
Right, probably have been that.
So, okay. That was my first time I did that. Sorry.
That's okay.
So we're in the process of updating our comprehensive plan. And, we have a survey that's online. And, if you can't go online, we have a paper survey here. And, I encourage you all to fill out the survey. It's gonna be really important, for us to gather information. I know some of you, I appreciate your comments, on Facebook, there was somebody ragging us.
Oh, yeah, about that.
And-
I usually try to stay out of it.
Anyways,
But they were,
yeah, that's.
Yeah.
the survey.
Yeah.
They were getting negative, negative Nellies, anyways. If you know anybody that, you think would be interested in filling out the survey, or you think somebody needs a copy of a paper survey, we have copies at the town office and we'll have some at the library. I'll just give you a copy of one right here, so you can want to look at it, and if you want, you can fill it out by paper. So we can bring it back to the town office and we'll have it locked in.
Can you explain for us, give us a big picture, how these, they'll take in the surveys by what date? Who's gonna
Sure.
collate findings, conclusions, recommendations, how's it gonna roll?
So, we're taking the application, the surveys until June 30th. Thank you for doing that. We're having a May 11th, it's gonna be like a charrette.
Okay.
At the rec center, between 2 and 4. And that meeting, it's gonna be facilitated. The new executive director at, the Lincoln County Planning Commission. And, and, I believe so, yes, I think we're gonna have, some buckets that, and you're gonna begin plan bucks. And you're all gonna be given $1,500 of money, and you're gonna be able to choose, which items that you value more. So it's gonna be kind of cool,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Strategic plan.
yeah. And, look at the comprehensive plan. That was something I wanted to prove today, but I ran out of time. And apparently I'm glad I did because
Really?
yeah, my confidence skills, I mean, my written skills are apparently not so good. Anyways, it's online. If you want to look at like a comprehensive plan,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Yeah, is it the one that says 2008?
Yeah,
Okay.
we're updating that. So, but there's different chapters. The state requires us to update that every 10 years. To have zoning and, we're a little behind. I'm not sure why. I mean, we're okay, but, anyways, so. But there's a lot of criteria for the state requires us to get approved. There's like a lot of questions that have to be answered and, to get approved, like you can see the checklist for each chapter. It's pretty intense. And, anyways, so, you don't have to necessarily see that checklist, but, the people that are dropped in the chapters are. And, if you want to see it, you're welcome to. In fact, actually, I think what I'd like to do is, there's a chapter on the economy. And, as part of our work here, I'd like to pull up those questions and have that part of our discussions. Because I think, I haven't talked to Sarah about it yet, but I'd like to have us kind of write that chapter. I know I'm writing it. I volunteered myself, but, because I'm on the committee, but, I kind of would like your input as part of that, that process. Anyways, with that being said, so what's gonna happen at that meeting is, it's gonna be facilitated, you know, people are gonna put their plan bucks and that, and then we're gonna count it, you know, to each bucket, you know, so there's a chapter on land uses, a chapter on natural resources, a chapter on transportation, the economy, you know, different sections, housing. And then, you know, obviously you might find that, you know, one thing's really loaded and then well, then the facilitator or moderator is gonna
I think I
basically ask questions about why they voted the way they did. And then we'll have like a discussion about that. And people will say, well, I voted for the transportation because I think it's the most important thing, you know. I need to ride with it, but, so, thank you. And then the other part is there's gonna be like some burning questions that we're all writing. And tell me if I'm wrong, sure.
No, you're right, that's exactly right, this,
So then there's like about 12 burning questions that we're gonna have on the wall. And then there's gonna be, everyone's gonna be given red, green, and orange stickers, yellow, yeah. And then you're gonna have, the question I had was, is everybody gonna get 12 green or just like 3 stickers?
yeah, I don't know how it's gonna work, but you have the option to either agree, disagree, or say unsure, and each of those stickers will represent
Okay, yeah.
whatever.
So you're gonna have 12 like stickers. For each, and they're gonna have 3 stickers for each question. And then you're gonna go around and put which one you agree with, you know, or disagree with, you know, answer the question the way you want it. And then somebody's gonna count those, you know, and then there'll be another facilitated discussion about that. And then, so what happens when, this will be all recorded and, when we write the comprehensive plan, the committee is right, it has divided up the chapters. And, any conclusions and things like that from that meeting, the people who are writing the different sections might have, you know, some questions or have some questions answered, you know, from that meeting, and, they'll, I don't know, they'll put some of that information in their chapter. There'll be hopefully some more sessions, but this is just the first one, and we're just wanting to test this out and see how it goes. I hope you all attend. It'd be kind of cool.
So at this meeting, if we take a look at the comprehensive plan prior to, are you planning on covering each of those?
We're gonna try to. We might not, I mean, because we're trying to.
Each aspect, I have, yeah, I just have that file here. Like, there's the historic and architectural resources, marine resources, people, economy, housing, recreation, transportation. There's gonna be one hot topic question from each of those.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're gonna try to hit each of those.
Yes, oh, yes, and then there'll be, with the jars that he's talking about, the money. There'll be a jar for each of those, and you can put your money, you can divvy it up however you want, or put it all in one, however, whatever you. So it's just a icebreaker to get. To understand what the public feels, what their thoughts are, to help us with input, with updating things.
May I just say that this is a very standard practice of doing strategic plan? It's, and it's always fun. It is fun.
Well,
because
Emily's
it's-
been working with us on, yes.
Yeah.
She's got some.
Richard,
Thank you. I forgot, what day and time is this?
May 11th,
Right, what time?
2 to 4.
Okay, you did say that
At
earlier.
the senior center.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Can I ask, what is the best written, not for content, but best written comp plan you've ever seen? Where would I get a copy of it?
I guess that depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
like, what's the best?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's the blind man and the elephant thing, huh?
But Fred, to be honest with you, most towns just do it to get through it, and a lot of them, they use like other towns.
Chat
So they're
GPT.
yeah. So if you look at.
What
town
best
plans-
comprehensive plans ever written?
Yeah, a lot of them-
Wisconsin didn't have one until the one that was done in 2008. We never had any comprehensive
Yeah.
plan at all.
So they usually follow like the same format and everything. Use a lot of the same verbiage, but it's also because the state requires certain things to be answered. So they're usually not so like interesting.
Oh, there's a word.
But I think Bath just did theirs, right?
Mhm.
And supposedly there's a lot of pictures, and it's not, it's done a little bit differently than I haven't read it yet, but Sarah's seen it, and from my understanding, it's really nicely done, and it's not like your typical comprehensive plan, which is nice.
Okay.
371 pages.
Their comp plan?
It's bad. It's
And how recent is it?
Last year, 23. Not bad, but
That might be the best ever, I mean, because it's the most current, if it complies with more state requirements.
And somewhere,
It's almost worth reading a page a day, isn't it?
And come back next year.
Said there were a lot of pictures.
Yes.
I hope so.
Oh, yeah, for the kids, this will be a kid friendly event too, my understanding, right?
Yeah.
So there'll be, pictures of like a little, like, the kid will just get a little, blank box. And, one piece of paper that says, what is your favorite place in Wiscasset? And then they get the little, some crayons, and they'll be able to draw, you know, a little picture, and then we're hopefully gonna put them around the town office. So,
Very nice.
yeah, it'd be nice. Like, so everybody, survey is. Yeah,
So is this our first kind of assignment?
To go to that,
Yeah,
yeah, that would be a good start,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
that'd be really.
At least to make note, or you're going.
I'm sure I shall.
You don't have to take notes out.
Well, then, for sure.
We need someone to help with the coloring. We didn't
Yeah.
have a volunteer.
For who?
The kids, the coloring.
Oh, Christopher's good at that.
There you go, bring for this.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
and
like
another.
Are these people the
I
same?
think so.
Maybe that'd be your first homework assignment, everybody should draw a picture of your favorite person, that's it.
Why, I have a smart phone. Take a picture.
You catch another look.
Yep.
Alright, cool. So the directives was approved by the select board and, you know, it has a lot of the same stuff that, like, what do you want to call it? The handbook. Right. So I'm not gonna go over that board stuff, but I think the meat and potato is on page 2. Now, some of the stuff is just basics, like economic development stuff, and, we can talk about it. So, like the first part here, you know, I really want this community to have a good working relationship with Lincoln County Planning Commission and the Regional Council of Governments. And, so that's, really, you know,
How often do they meet?
I think meet once a month. And we probably be using them like as staff to help us with something. Professional staff, like, and they're great resources, like Emily, that we were just talking about. She works for Lincoln County Regional Planning Commission. So they might have like, we might invite them to a meeting to talk to us about like tips or something, and I can, they can explain it to you. I can try and explain it to you too. It's complicated, but Evan knows a lot about this too, so. Let's see. I think the next one is just to work with town staff and other town communities as directed by the select board on just projects and issues. Basically, that's just kind of like, if the select board comes up with something and they say, oh, we have this little little project and we want the economic development community to look at it, and that's kind of, that's that line.
So is there a potential that any one of us might be, I don't know, as an example, attending a school board meeting or a budget committee meeting or planning board? What?
Yeah, I think, so, I mean, at some point, when this gets going, I'd like to, at some point, and you'll see actually when we get down in this. I want to start looking at our ordinances, I just like that, we like one of our assignments, and that's something where we're gonna have to talk about. What is our priority? Do we think that's like our most important thing, like, and that's what, when we go through this. Let's talk about. What you think is the most important items, and you might not know that right now, but. We can at least talk about it, and then, but to go back to your question, which is a good question. Is if there's like a new ordinance being adopted, I'd like to be involved in reviewing it or like making sure that it's business friendly, you know what I mean? Like, so we can have eyes on it and say, well, we think that if you make some changes here, this would make it a little bit better, you know, more business friendly. You know, we can make that recommendation to the ordinance review committee. And I see our committee kind of maybe like writing an opinion or something like that. What do you call it, amicus brief?
Oh, yeah, sure, a friend brief, yeah.
Yeah, you know, something like that to the select board or to the, you know, to the ordinance.
We're not gonna get crosswise in minutes, so we.
I don't know, I mean, I guess we might,
We are so.
I don't wanna be the sharp end of the spear. I'm-
I guess, you know.
It's not us against any other committee, it's what?
I mean, we might get upset some people, I mean, you know, but I think we would try and do it delicately, you know.
Make a note.
Delicate. I'm not gonna say.
We all
it's
voted, it
delicate.
was unanimous.
Delicate, yes.
But I do think that there's a play here, I think there's a place for us here, and I think that at some point we. You know, we can talk to the select board about how we wanna approach this, if you want, you know, if we say. You know, we have an ordinance book that's like 700 pages long, you know,
Some of them are so outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and.
You know, like whipping the kids after 10 PM if they're on the street.
Yeah, we got you.
I didn't know that. I paid
They stopped right after you got out of high school.
They always do.
So, anyways, so I think that's like one of the things that we can talk about, and it's just decide whether or not we need some of these ordinances, and if we, and then if we say like, oh, maybe we don't need this ordinance, maybe we can go to the ordinance review committee and suggest that we don't need it, you know, and see what they say, and then.
And won't we be looking at ordinances that are going to affect economic development
Yeah,
specifically? You know, that like for businesses coming to town or development, new homes and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of.
well, I think our goal here is, you know, as Bill said here, you know, I didn't word increase the tax base. Yeah.
Right, by building more homes, bringing in more businesses.
Yeah, and so if there's anything encumbering that, so, you know, there might be, maybe it might not be the ordinance itself, but, you know, the ordinance might be might be in the way of a builder, preventing him to make those investments.
Right,
And so we might talk to a builder, you know, some builders and say, hey, you know, why aren't you building here? Or what are the problems, you know, and we might invite them to a meeting and say, you know, just talk to them. And, let's see what's going on.
I would just finish reading, I can't remember, I was going to print it out and I can't remember where I saw it, but it was in southern Maine and how, you know, prosperous this particular town is, and they're building affordable housing and they're doing all kinds of things. So to me, it's important to use other resources. So talking with other towns and looking at their successes, and perhaps, you know, picking up some, you know, little tidbits from them as well. Maybe even before talking to a builder, or, you know, just to get some information how they might have gone about doing some of these things. You know, I mean, we're just kind of newbies here, you know, and there's a lot that can be done, but, you know, maybe just getting a little information from some other towns and what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
I prefer not to reinvent the wheel, so if
Yes.
someone else tells us, here's the 3 biggest things we did that have enabled us to move forward. I would love to know that, may not work here,
Right.
but I would still love to know that.
Well, I did some research for Lincoln County, for what other towns were doing as far as, you know, charging for different things in the town, like free use of sidewalks, so I called up a bunch of towns to get their information. And I found out a lot, and I was hoping that, it would be used here in Wiscasset by, whatever committees were going to do it. But sometimes when you have something to gauge by, it really helps you than, again, like you say, trying to bend the wheel, because it can be very arduous.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, when we get to like a topic like housing, we can start talking about how we want to set up the process, and how, we can assign tasks, and we can all say, well, let's start looking at towns, in our free time. We can start looking on websites and start, gathering information, and then we'll come back to a meeting and start talking about what we found. I could try and get you much information, we could talk about it. You can maybe arrange for speakers, things like that. That's the kind of thing I'd like to see be done, and then, so we're more informed, and then when we're ready to make a decision on stuff, and like you said, Allison, Lisa, sorry.
That's okay.
It took
Maybe
me-
you should just.
It took me a while to
Make
get
us all
to
very
it.
comfortable.
All right.
I just spent my last,
That's okay.
That's the last one. So, the, okay. A lot of the stuff's already been done, so, like, Lincoln County had a housing assessment study. And right there, there's a lot of answers in that already. We just have to implement it, we just have to take some of that stuff and start, implement it, just, start checking the boxes, So I think, some of the stuff's already done, we just have to like start looking at it. And remember, I think in the interviews I was talking to you about, we have all these studies on the shelf. Well, it's true, but we've done a lot of this stuff already. It's just, the stuff's been sitting on a shelf and they have really good answers. We just need to start actually reading the studies that we, and start actually maybe implementing some of the stuff that was done.
Okay, so we're a book group. What book do you want us to?
I don't know yet, but that's.
You're bringing the wine.
That's what we need to talk about, So, what else?
Yeah.
So,
Weird question.
oh, sorry.
I'm a little bit afraid to ask this, but so you're saying these studies are done? Can we ask you to make copies for us?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
And I'm being serious. I mean, if there's something we should read and we don't need a lot of copies, we can hand it around.
Yeah,
And,
Because it'll be so
and to go along with that, and I think someone mentioned that the ordinance is what, 700 pages long?
yeah. we're
With a
not gonna-
700 ordinance, over 700
Ordinance,
ordinance.
okay, well,
I don't know how many ordinances, but it's.
in my prior
it's
life,
like this big.
yes, in my prior life, what we would have done in a situation like this is divided into sevenths or
Right.
whatever. And you'd have the first 100 pages, second 100 pages, third 100 pages. And we would become subject matter experts on those 100 pages, rather than all of us going bleary-eyed, trying to plow through 700.
So that was my point, is that what this committee is, to rewrite the ordinances? Because I didn't think that that's what we were doing.
No,
So
But it's-
there's a lot of ordinances that have nothing to do with economic development
Right,
that I
yeah.
don't think we need to read through.
But it's a plan of attack.
Yeah, I get what you're
For
saying.
whatever's up on collecting dust on his shelves right now, and they are. We all towns, all cities have them.
Yeah.
Great studies that go up to the shelf, and then someday somebody goes, holy cow, we just reinvented the wheel.
So if you look at through this, the directive. A lot of these items, like on page 3 and down. After actually. The economic development plan. Like where it starts airport, waterfront,
Right.
all those items really down came from our comprehensive plan. And a lot of those came from studies. And so, you know, and I have them, and, you know, we can look at those and, you know, and we don't have to look at them all, you know, we can just say, you know, we think that's okay, you know, it's, or it's irrelevant, you know,
Well, where's the low hanging fruit?
yeah,
What's your first choice?
so.
Housing? Tips? What?
The chicken and an egg, isn't it?
Yeah,
How do you buy a house if you don't have jobs? How do you have jobs if you don't have people?
So we should
Right.
become grants people.
You know, right.
I mean, you know, if you look at things logically, we have BIW, which is a fantastic employer over here. They need 2,000 people. But there's no place for people to go, to live. So, okay, so what do? You know, but start building houses? We don't have enough construction people to build houses. You know, we don't, it's such a complex, I think, and difficult thing. But you can't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs. You have to figure out, well, okay, can we turn some of those hangars into some kind of temporary housing? You know, what kind of things can we do? Is there some old trains sitting on side tracks someplace that can be converted? Is there, you know, are there some other things that we can do and I think that that's what we're looking at, to try and find some solutions, however small they might be, because everybody's experiencing, you know, they are. everyone's-
Okay, so we got this terrific port. We can bring a container ship up, drop the
Absolutely.
containers off, put screen doors in them, and we've got housing.
Yep. I proposed to our housing committee that BAIW bring up a cruise ship to be able to temporarily house people because they were so in need of employees. You know, you kind of
Don't
look
you
at
think that'll annoy the people at Viking?
what? I love Viking. Take us back through.
so this development that's going on, this retirement development up at the old primary school.
Right.
I think that's wonderful. I would love it if that had been something that was more affordable housing, not just affordable housing, but, you know,
Targeted for younger.
working class housing.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is we're talking, so those people that are gonna be living there, where are they living now? So they're gonna be, when they move in there, when this is done, there's gonna be more housing opening up, whether it's rentals or people selling their homes or whatever. So that's gonna be, I think that's gonna help us some.
I actually had a question. I couldn't recall from when they first were proposing that development. Are they including employee housing on site?
Very, just where,
Because they're talking about hiring, what did it say in the paper?
Yeah,
60,
yeah.
70, 80 people?
Right.
Where are they going?
They have some,
Where are they coming from?
they have some temporary housing that they're looking,
yeah.
you know, so I
And
I
he's-
have no idea.
Springboarding from that, having worked in a Rust Belt city for a while. What about NIMBY?
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, so it's got, you first have to start changing attitudes, and then the housing, and then, so where do you start? Probably with the press,
Good
laying
luck
out the
with that.
problem,
Yeah,
the charrette.
yeah, that's gonna be, it's
Yeah.
a positive.
What's the charrette?
Or it's just.
The
Oh,
comprehensive plan thing that we're doing, the event.
Oh, that's what you're calling it. Oh, okay.
It's,
What it's called.
city planners and people like that use these things to
Yeah.
kind
It's there.
of pull in ideas and try to attach some priority to the ideas themselves.
Okay. Just an acronym.
One of those, no, it's one of those funny architectural terms that nobody really understands.
Usually-
And we wish they wouldn't say it.
Call those magic words.
Usually a charrette, you know, our thing is probably not really a charrette, but I think a charrette is probably more in the line of like an architect will put up designs, like pictures and things of like with like the community, and then you're supposed to like actually put your plan box in front of that, or your stickers in front of that, you know, kind of identify what you like in the community. That's kind of like what the shred is.
Just an observation about the housing, I think things really won't turn for us until the interest rates go back down. You know, our rates are, you know, we're paying rates now that we haven't seen in a long time. And
I bought my first house, had a mortgage of $975.
I was-
thought I was getting away with murder.
I was in the mortgage industry and did mortgages for 13%.
It's all relative.
Yes,
all
it
of
is.
it.
that's true, but if you're not making a lot of money, 8% sounds like a lot for a mortgage that,
The
Well,
prices have.
3 years ago.
Compared to what it was,
Right.
and that's the thing, it was a big shock for people when it was 3% and people were approved at 3% and they knew what their mortgage was gonna be. And then they weren't able to get a home because they were bidding and not getting it,
Right.
and all of a sudden the rates are going up and now they're up to 7%, so
But
it's like
in
double.
combination
I
with the price of houses going up, there was an article recently that in Maine, you used to have to earn $62,000 a year to buy the average house in Maine, and now you have to have over 6 figures.
Yeah, it's over 100.
Yeah.
Not a lot over, but over.
Right, that's a big difference.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's also everywhere,
Yeah.
It's a-
And rents, and rents.
yes, yeah.
Yeah, rents are crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. The cost of living.
I'm all for getting one of those trains. One of the train yards there, they've got them and converted into my luxury, whatever.
Your mini house?
Yeah.
What about a yurt?
How much of the local workforce is seasonal for us?
I don't know, that's a good question.
I don't think a lot.
It
I
feels
mean-
like it's not, but I'm just wondering.
Right, because a lot of our businesses are, owner operated
Yeah.
staffed.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So they're not hiring a lot of people except for, Monolika. You know, we just don't have a lot of,
But it wasn't all that long ago. We had a whole bunch of Irish kids in the summer, or kids from the Czech Republic or something like that, or Shaws and up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but obviously the world has changed since then, but I remember vividly.
right? I think it's when all of us, from my generation die, we'll be in good shape.
So that's not a top priority in my book, but,
We'll have a lot of housing available. All kinds of things.
I mean, that is part of the problem.
Well,
It is.
Is that
We're living too long.
we're, well,
Not
not
all.
long, but we're not
I'm
down.
glad you guys are all saying this stuff and it's not some of it might have said.
Yeah.
Keep going.
We're not downsizing, we're not getting rid of our big house, we're keeping it
Oh,
and.
I'd
so
love to
I did.
downsize. if
but
I
that's
could
what I'm
find the
saying,
right piece of
if
land.
all of the people,
Yeah.
you know, of that age
Do move.
do move down there, or not, they may come from other towns and other areas, but hopefully it will be Lincoln County, a good portion, and that way those living spaces will become available for
But
someone.
you know, but they were talking that the cost
real money.
is, $5,000 to $10,000 a month.
Well, they may not be able to fill them then, you know, if people can't afford it,
So,
either that
but you
or
can
bring
get-
people.
After all, they have, this will be their 7th facility. So they've got the others.
Where are the other ones?
They've got two in Connecticut.
But, so that's my point, so Maine is a little bit different than Massachusetts.
Well, they have them in New Hampshire,
Theirs are
They have
starting
them
at
in,
4,000.
right, in New
On my
Hampshire.
side.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
There are people that can afford
But
that.
that does include a lot.
It does, yeah, I
I mean,
think,
yeah,
Three meals a
all your utilities.
Yeah.
Everything.
Meals
I think that.
I know.
Yeah.
More
You're not
than-
paying your property taxes,
Right.
and
You're not
there's a lot of
having
things you don't.
hire out to take care of your
It doesn't-
lawn and.
Right.
Insurance stuff.
Yeah, the toilet clogs up, you don't have to call the plumber, whatever it is.
The Sunnybrook place, I think that's the name over in Brunswick. That's-
yeah.
Mhm.
They're expensive.
That's like $8,000, you know, guys, like
They
eight.
have some, and they're awful over
And
there,
then-
so.
Actually, his wife got injured and, she couldn't access the bed and they don't have lift. So they got her something separate that was 11 grand. I was like, how did, you know, one
I was
at
looking
8
at
and the
that.
other 11, paying both of them? I'm like,
I know, I was
That
looking
scares
at
the hell out of
in
me.
Florida, for a family member and, yeah, 4,000, that would
yeah,
have been.
4,000, you're not even snow. That's like a tip.
The oldest county in the oldest state, and we're trying to make it older. This is good. Okay. What a dynamic group.
It's not so much that we're doing it, the market is.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, they were looking at it and going, hey, this has got old people, let's build here.
It's very needed.
Yeah, it is.
But again, you know, they're gonna be hiring all those people, where are they going to live? Those aren't the highest paying jobs on earth.
No, that's not what I mean, maybe the
So-
company does a good job, maybe they pay living wages, maybe they provide health insurance, I hope all of that,
Oh, I do too.
right?
But still,
But still, yes.
Yeah.
Will be a lot of cannibalizing of the labor. pool.
Well, yeah, where are they gonna come from?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Miles
Right.
came
Well,
out,
it's
Miles
just-
came out.
That becomes competitive and wages will then rise again, you know, I
It
mean,
doesn't sound like it's gonna be like really skilled, too skilled labor too, like, they're not gonna be a lot of nurses there, it's gonna be CNAs, like, that's a little bit lower.
Right.
But there is a shortage of those.
Yeah,
And kitchen staff,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
so, yeah.
well, unless unless the wages are competitive, it's going to be really tough because you can go over here to Burger King and get $8.50 an hour or whatever.
oh my
I
God.
mean, $18.50.
I was gonna say,
Sorry.
Don't give it away.
That includes the concierge.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not like people can share either, you know?
How, in this comprehensive look at everything, there is something that none of us really talk about that we should, and it has to do with staffing these jobs. I have been around these places. My parents lived in Florida for 30 years. My father started learning to speak Spanish so he could talk to his gardener. Or they come from other places in Africa, etc. And we develop hopefully vibrant immigrant communities that can support, that can provide the basis for these non-skilled or low-skilled jobs. Everybody wants to have a highly skilled job.
Yeah, New York City wouldn't survive if they.
No, they
didn't
would
have-
not. They would not.
Well, why
Oh,
do
in
you think-
Florida.
Why do you think we don't have construction here?
Right.
You know, because we keep thinking we're gonna rely on the guy down the street. I'm sorry, but that's not happening. You know, we need to.
So
bring-
this has.
Well,
to
they
be
are,
part
he's just booked until 2033.
Well, exactly, and we need to bring in more crews.
Yeah.
So,
we do have a broken immigration system. There's no question about
We
that.
can't do
But they-
anything about that in this committee.
I know.
I wish, no, but we can't.
Because I want to. bring
However,
that in.
on page 3, it does say.
I think it's really important. That's how we all
Of
came.
course, yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
With all that, my Italian.
Growth comes from various places, and you said, how do we start? Well, a lot of the stuff starts like that.
so
My jobs that cannot be filled, and then finding or reasonably quick solutions to the housing. And then it starts to build like that.
So, I mean, one of the things that you all are kind of bringing up, there's very like two areas. There's the micro economy and then there's the macro. And, you know, there's stuff that's just way out of our control and, you know, like
Yes.
the national and global politics. And I just feel like we have to recognize some of that input, and I think we do. But it's good that we understand that. And then there's the things that we can do, and we have the authority to do, like, and there's certain things that I think we can, like, seed and create opportunities for. So like, we can create a TIF district or, you know, do things like that, you know, just different things that we can create opportunities for, the goals that we want, you know, to try and incentivize, you know, like update, maybe not, like, look at our ordinances and maybe say, okay, well, maybe we don't need to have that license in ordinance, or, you know, different things like that. I'm just naming a few things, but just look at some of those things that maybe we say, or maybe we can develop a partnership with a university, you know, and say, you know, or try and talk to a university or college or something like that, to see if they can help with the workforce, issue that like local businesses have, and, you know, those are the type of things that I think we can do. But, anyways, I think those are the things that we can do that might be able to help us. Anyways.
So our proposal, I'm not gonna let this go just for one more second on immigration. We can also speak up rather than out. That is, we can send a message up the line that says, if you really want us to grow, if you really want us to be vibrant, fix this policy. We're talking about the economics of the mid-coast of Maine and Wiscasset in specific. But if we just talk to each other, it doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. I mean, one of the things that we could do is, you know, reach out to other economic development committees and, you know, maybe like other groups, you know, like the Mid-Coast Council of Governments, and, you know, have them come here, and maybe our state legislative delegation, and, you know, it's different people, you know, maybe we can get them to write a, you know, joint letter or something, you know.
Yeah.
We can talk about a strategy. If there's a law pending, you know, we could, you know, encourage our legislative delegation to vote a certain way, you know, there's just different opportunities. So maybe we could testify, you know, it doesn't have to be on the federal level, but on the state level.
Sure.
So there's opportunities. I agree with you.
Aaron? Do we have any land in Wiscasset we could give away?
I don't think so.
Rephrase the giveaway part.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
Okay, I'll let-
Okay, do we have any
Pitchfork
brownfields
just
we can
hit
give
the
away?
pavement.
okay, because my grandparents came from Poland and Ukraine.
Right.
And Canada, in particular, Edmonton, Alberta, solicited my grandmother and grandfather to come to Canada with the caveat that they would have a piece of land and they can start their family and, you know, grow their own food, whatever it was, but encouraged the, you know, it to be inhabited, because if you know anything about Canada, it also is a huge space with populations restricted to probably the lower quarter, you know. And so anyway, they gave them the land and they started a family and had 13 kids, you know, who all became various things in the community. And I mean, it was very successful then, and land was definitely available.
It
But,
still is in Canada.
hmm?
It still is available.
Yes.
I mean, we have land, but I don't know if it's not real valuable.
No,
Yeah, well, we have some land that's valuable.
Yeah, we do, but they're looking at it for
Understood.
Yeah.
use.
I don't know-
but
I don't know if
it
we
could
want to
be
give
a
away.
long term, yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah.
kind of.
We might, I mean, yeah.
mind you, that was far reaching. It's just that,
The one thing that we do have that might be considered, is we do have some junkyards. Yeah, so we have some classified properties, like. No, it's actually kind of like a thought process that you just put in my head, but, you know, maybe if we just said, hey, you know, Dennis has been trying not to foreclose on some of these people because they're a hot mess. And, but what if we just said, yeah, help yourself. You know, here's some free property.
And
Clean it up in
then
your
we
own
got some grant money to clean it up,
Yeah,
and then make it a trailer park or something, you know, something
Tiny
that's
house
affordable,
village.
tiny house village, something that's affordable.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it's that big, I think like the properties are just like one lot and done type things.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, that's
Like
not,
my neighbor.
Well,
but
oh, so they're not as
Well,
much as an acre?
But one lot, how big a lot, because that's
Yeah.
where the ordinances come into play.
Mhm,
And if we are being overly restrictive on square footage
mhm.
per square foot of land, you know, you can really shoot yourself in the foot by doing that.
well, the new law, there's a new law, and I think some of the regulations that were just adopted or about to be adopted.
The RSUs and,
Yeah, are gonna be very helpful to make the. You know, they're lessening some of the setback requirements and things. And allow for increased design on properties and things, so that will be good. The properties that I'm thinking of aren't really wonderful properties, like they're just really small pieces. We do have one property, I think there's maybe about 11 acres that we own. But it's. I think you know, it's like Birch Point Road, it's kind of set back though, I don't, it's like.
oh, yeah,
You know, it might be a nice piece of land, but I think it's kind of only like one landowner really wants it, that,
is it the one by the power lines?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that one
And
later.
you might be able to do something with it.
Mm.
And, well, we own some land in Edgemont,
It's,
Edgecombe, sorry, yeah. I'm a hot mess today. So, yeah, Edgecombe, but I mean, I spoke to the code officer there, you can't really do anything with it, so. It's only about 1.38 acres, so
yeah, you need 2 acres in Edgecombe.
actually 3,
Oh, they changed it, it's 3, yeah,
yeah.
okay,
That
see,
might
that's,
yeah.
that's an ordinance that probably should.
Yeah, but they don't want that, I mean,
I
there's a
know,
lot
I
of
know.
towns that do not
You know,
want.
Right,
Cool.
and also it depends on
And I
where,
think a lot of people here don't want sprawl.
right, depending on where you are
Exactly.
in town.
Yeah,
Well, that's what cracks me up, is that these towns say they don't want sprawl, and then they put 3 acre. lots.
Minimums.
It's like, well, you just create sprawl, but,
right,
anyways,
On that topic, I printed off the two important maps from the housing study. Which is Lincoln County and Wisconsin on the back. Which is perfect segue for all this. And then I've got a digital copy of I got some resources, I'll email everybody, whoever likes reading material.
I'll do it.
is it fiction?
Yeah, it's all fiction, baby. We're all just here killing time.
Really? Wow. Limited.
So the report is 130 odd pages, and these are two fairly important pages.
So basically where the yellow is, most of that is where the sewer is.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's always water and sewer.
This is very nice.
There's a table in there, to like with the shortages or something like that.
Yeah, there's a ton of good info.
Yeah.
And there's a-
I'm gonna turn off that whole thing to you guys at some point.
Well, we might be able to get some copies from the planning commission. Really nice and bound,
Oh, yeah.
so I can go look in the next couple days.
All right. I was gonna get, I actually went to a printer to get some more stuff printed. So I'm gonna have this thing
Yep.
printed by printer, and then. I had, so there's a document developed by EPA, believe it or not. That talks about how to write an economic development strategy. And another one written by the US Economic Development Administration. how to really develop strategy. And, anyways, there's a document that called the SEDS document, it's called Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. A lot of communities follow with that, and, I think that we should probably write one. Anyways, so they follow what they call a SWOT analysis, and that's what they follow here in this business plan. So. Anyways,
I'm curious, I'm assuming that's Chewonki
Yeah, it's
and
got,
why it's not included, but what about these other two? Isn't that like Young's Point? Why
yeah,
are they just left off?
I don't know, might have been just convenient for the page.
Okay, it's left off on the other side too.
Who created, where did this come from?
This came from the Lincoln County, hold on, I'll get you the title, the Housing Needs Assessment by Compoint Associates. CAMPIN.
Because of this new law, I have asked, because there's. I know that the way that the state, the minimum regulation is that the new law allows you to double what the ordinance allows. Except for, and I forget what they called it, I'm gonna use say growth areas, but it's something else. And I've even asked a couple of people at the state level if they know where those, has anyone determined what those areas are? So this to me tells me that these are the areas where you can do more than double the number, like if you need an acre of land, the state, the new law allows you to put 2 homes per acre. But if you have water and sewer that are enough, you could put a multi-unit, or you could put 4 in these areas that they're calling growth areas. Unless the town did something different. I mean, the ordinances haven't been changed yet, so.
yeah, well, we have proposed that it's gonna be totally adopted at the town meeting, but
It's gonna be what?
I believe there's a proposed ordinance to be adopted at town meeting. Proposed language.
Thank you.
He's filling us up with paper.
Yeah.
And do you know?
I'm gonna
Proposed?
Thank you very much. I haven't really.
Thank you.
looked at
This
that
one?
closely, but yeah, I can share it with you.
Yeah,
Look at
let's-
it, we can bring it somewhere.
Yep, and I emailed you guys all the link to the copy, and there's like an hour-long YouTube video where they go over it. Oh, boy.
There it
All right, plans on the shelf, Bill,
is.
and this was published last March of 23.
Yeah, this is probably the most recent. One of the things that I had thought would be really cool, but I think it's more, should be done at the county level, but is created what they call a land trust in a lake, and, something called a land, you use this thing called the Land Bank Authority. Have you heard of that?
No,
But it'd be done at the county level. Create this agency like a redevelopment authority. And what it would do is, well, right now the state has this authority, the main.
is it redevelopment land bank
Yeah,
authority?
yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
They just created it and, but basically what it does is it. Basically, these groups actually. Go in and take over, the state would take over Mason Station, they basically condemn it. And then they would work with the community to decide what they wanted to do with the property. And redevelop it, clean up first, and then redevelop it. To what the community wants it to be. That is sort of like the strategy that I have with the property right now, we're working with developers right now.
Is this for stranded properties or something? Is that what I'm trying to pick up here on
Well, yeah, I
why,
mean-
why they would use the example of Mason Station? These are.
Yeah, I mean, it would be properties that are,
Probably like mills and other.
yeah, mills and stuff like that,
Brownfields.
Yeah,
yeah, properties, yeah, yeah. Or, like, I was also thinking too, like, you could also use it for like junkyards and things like that, like properties that are tax acquired, like, and, like the town didn't want to acquire this junkyard, right? We could talk to this local level or regional land bank authority. Sanford does this, they have their own housing authority. So the Sanford Housing Authority actually has, they use the land bank authority. And they actually go in and clean up these houses, right? And then they put them back on the tax rolls. The
Are
next,
are they renting them or are they actually trying to,
they sell.
they
sell.
flip them?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then Waterville has a land trust. Or I think it's actually called Housing Trust. Actually, yeah, it's called Housing Trust, but it's the same idea. So. But they want to do the same thing as Sanford. They want to go in with their housing authority and condemn these junkyards that they have, these bad properties. And then turn them over to their housing, what do you call it, housing development trust. And then they want to basically give them to them so that they can start providing housing. And it's really interesting, the housing authority, I mean, it's not the housing authority, it's called housing trust, look it up, it's really cool. And, what they do
Are
is,
you saying that the town is going to be the landlord for these
That's
properties?
what I'm wondering, yeah.
no, it's a separate 501c3, and what it would do is they town owns the land. The people buy the house, and if they sell the house, they have to sell it back to the land trust, I mean, housing trust, or I guess it's the land trust, I think they call it housing trust, I think it's
so
called.
this one I want to think Waterville Community Land Trust,
Yeah, that's what it's called,
and then they also have a public authority.
yeah, that's it,
Yeah.
Waterville Community Land Trust. But the whole premise is pretty cool, and I wish, I'd like to set one up for the county line though. Anyways, I just thought that was a cool concept. And it might help us like resolve this housing issue, because there's a lot of towns that have.
Well, they have things, they have assets that could look like housing stocks. The closest we've got, you use Mason Stations is it, isn't it? I mean, we pretty much use, a lot of towns use up their own schools.
Definitely a bigger thing than this community land trust.
They
That's
use the Wallenock building. Oh, I'm sorry, did I say?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Waterville is a perfect example where maybe that redevelopment authority the state has that could help us with, I mean. And that's a good point.
So the building where Treats is,
It's
above that, there could be, I've never been up there, I'm just guessing, at least 4 to 6 apartments up there, but it's
Falling apart.
It's falling apart,
Yeah.
there's broken windows, birds live in there, I mean, they die in there, I'm sure,
Yeah.
I've been in the Mason Station before, and I bet it's like that, the birds get in there, they get stuck in there. It's terrible, and it's such a waste.
Is there, I'm not familiar with it, but is there any environmental concerns?
Yes.
I
Oh,
would say,
once we get into that
Brownfield.
Yeah.
ownership chain, you're.
So let me just tell you about that. If you walk into my office, you'll see probably a 5 or 6 inch binder. It has. Well, anyways, it's a 1,700 page report that I printed off. I actually went to a printer to have it printed off. And it's still signed. Anyways, what it is it was a Maine DEP report on Mason Station. And it's their findings of all the contamination issues They just came out with it and they, issued it to the current owner of it. Joe Carter. Yeah,
Otter.
yeah, thank you. And, they gave him 30 days and I think today's day. That he's supposed to file a report, basically telling them what his plans are to, what, how he's gonna clean up. And then he has like another 60 days to start implementing it.
And who did this report? EPA or,
DP,
okay.
Yeah.
Because EPA has money for stuff like that.
for towns, do they have it for local?
Private.
Private.
Is there just a,
I think that you take it and then EPA steps in and helps you.
Yeah, that's a theory. We've been sort of playing nice, because there's a little development group that,
Yeah, they got 3-year right away, blah, 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 blah. 3 years to study something, I don't know.
yeah, so we're working with two people right now that are very interested in redeveloping it. They're eager and they're working with this guy, Joe, the current owner of the building, and they're basically what I've heard, and this is what they've told me. And, they've said that they're Joe's gonna write the check. Supposedly, that's the agreement.
is it in the mail?
I don't know.
That's how the town ended up with the whole rest of the property around it.
So, with the cleanup expense, and then these guys are gonna actually do the implementation of the actual cleanup. That's what I had a conversation with them a couple weeks ago. So you see what happens. Jim's got, I have to call the guy at the state and follow up on that. But now that deadline's passed, I wanna see what happens, see what their plan is.
I wanna see the money.
I mean, well, I got a tour of the place just a couple of months ago, a month or two, but was it February? Yeah, February. Yeah, it's already been 2 months. And that place is a mess.
I can't imagine what it looks like now. It's been about 4 years since I was
Yeah,
in there. And
It's
really
it's not
bad
good.
then.
It has its own climate. You can see where, it was a sunny day and it was raining, not heavy, but, dripping, there was fungus growing on the floor, the ground.
It's
Paint was peeling.
probably not safe to even be in there breathing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny, it's like but it's like somebody just said, oh yeah, we're closing the place, and then they just got up from their desk and left, and like, they left it the way. They like close up, haul the paperwork out.
Yeah.
They left the books on the desk and, paper in the files. Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Maybe
stuff
you
on
could
the-
just rename it a tropical forest theme park and, go.
There's salt water coming in from the river.
Okay, so now it's.
And the beach in the basement. Yeah, it's pretty intense. So, and you can see what it's doing to the seal. So. You can't imagine what it's doing to the seal. Anyways.
Hope it doesn't fall down.
Yeah,
Well, it's brick, so that's good.
It's still the.
Yeah, we do really well with brick. in
Yeah,
the town.
that's true.
Or we could, start a huge lottery of pool. When's the building gonna fall down? We make millions.
I'm hearing it's like, well. At least 12 million, and I'm not hearing that from the developers, I'm hearing that from the people that do the cleanup. The developers are saying it's like 6 million. We're a little bit naive.
But then I think you need to plan on 18.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Ransom? Was that the name of the company that did the old? I have that report from the Mason Station, and back then it was over 10 million.
Yeah,
So it's gotta be more than that now.
Yeah,
yeah. We're dealing with them now, it's, the same guy, Steve Dyer, and.
Yes, Steve, yeah.
And, he works for somebody else now,
Yeah.
Cindy Meyer, and he had said, like he said, the number that he had back then, like you said, like it was 12 million,
Yeah,
that's old, you
Yeah.
know, but,
yeah.
so. Great. So, I mean, just to get it fixed up, it's gonna cost, I mean, just to get it cleaned up, before you actually put money into it, it's gonna cost quite a bit of money.
What's the
And-
value of the land? Forget the building, just, what, okay, let's pick a number out of here, $22 million, rip the building down, you clean it up. Does that land have commensurate value?
Yeah, it's, I mean, that peninsula is very well, I mean, I think it's a, well, it's a real estate agent, but I think it's a welcome piece. I mean, it's a very nice piece of land. I mean,
I'm looking it up, hold on.
It is.
Keep talking.
You're looking at the assessed value,
Yeah.
it doesn't have
That
any.
has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's just an hour.
And it's so hard to say with that piece of land, that, are you saying without, if everything was completely cleaned up?
Or would it-
How many acres?
Would it be, you've got to figure out what the economic break point in this thing
Yeah.
is. And if the land has any kind of appreciable value, maybe it's not fix this up and make it a theme park or whatever the heck they think they're going to do with it.
It's a valuable piece of land, because
Yeah.
Wiscasset has limited
Right.
amount of land, of
They're not making
waterfront
money.
land that we can
Right.
develop. Chewonki owns the majority of waterfront land.
How many
So-
acres is the property out there?
I
think it's
can't remember.
5 or 6.
Approximately.
There's not,
How much?
I think that one,
5 or 6,
Parcels.
that's all.
yeah, I think.
It's not as
the town
much.
already,
It's
I
not
thought it
much
was
today.
more.
I think the town already took the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah, the
I don't know.
town
Yeah.
owns,
But you're saying the whole peninsula.
the whole peninsula
Yeah,
is
that's-
probably maybe about 20 acres.
Yeah,
And how close are the electric?
they're right there.
Oh, it's everything.
You can hear 'em.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other reason why it's really not a great
Attractive.
for housing, for business. I see it as an industrial park or something.
Right.
I mean, even,
A commercial wharf.
yeah, a marina, some sort of something like that, but not, never residential. I don't, that was the plan years ago, and I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah.
You wouldn't wanna, no matter what you clean up, you don't wanna put a house there,
No,
right? That's just,
no,
you're
that's
asking
not
for
the
trouble.
way the power lines are there, unless they ever
Well,
did.
you
just
never
everything
clean
live.
it up.
Is everything live?
Oh, yeah, you hear it coming. I mean, you hear it,
Yeah.
you feel it,
It's a substation.
yeah.
But I mean, if they changed anything in there, they'd be wanting to have that substation.
Yeah.
So I think they reroute it.
They
What
would,
they're proposing, I mean, you can go to their website, it's called Mason Station Redevelopment Corporation. But they want to build a battery storage. If you know anything about that, it's actually not really about energy efficiency, it's about finances and arbitrage and like making money. It's all Wall Street stuff. So, you know, it's like buying the energy at when it's really cheap and then selling it when it's really expensive, you know, anyways. And then,
Speculation.
and then and then they wanted to like a boatyard area, and then they want to have like a marina. And then they want to actually do some like manufacturing in the building, and then they are talking housing on the town-owned property. And then, and some retail and sales, you know, like kind of restaurants and things. And an underground parking garage, basically doing a lot of what was,
what Point East was originally going to be,
yeah,
yeah.
that's their concept. They're trying to push that through, but, I don't know.
It is 8.3 acres, last sold in 2003 for 3.9 million,
What year?
2003.
He did, I was talking to one of the developers, I think it was in January, and he did say that he wanted a negative valuation on the property. And I kind of told him, that's probably not. So,
So you just want the tax break.
Well, I mean, I think he's looking at it because he knows he's gonna have to dump
A lot of money.
12 million into clean it up, so he's.
So, Tim, I mean, is that what he's asking for?
No,
No.
no, but he wants the TIF too, but.
Oh,
I don't believe in tax breaks.
You can do the tip, you just don't have to give them the credit enhancement.
Yeah, the TIF doesn't really help the business owner,
TIF
really.
doesn't have to help them at all.
so what was it that we did for Moloch? How do you pronounce it?
Monlick, I can never
We
see.
gave them some sort
I don't
of,
know what's in that. 'cause
yeah, we did it,
I have to double check, but I think there is a credit enhancement.
yeah.
I don't know what the percentage is, but.
But I mean, that was beneficial for us. I don't know why we wouldn't do that for a big company that was gonna come in and provide jobs, high-paying jobs and
Yeah,
tax.
I agree with you. I think that we should have a policy though, like a tax increment policy. A lot of towns have that. And I think that if we do that, we actually really should condition it to certain benchmarks. I mean, that's my recommendation. So, we don't just give a credit enhancement to somebody that comes into a bunch of minimum wage jobs.
No.
Exactly.
No, I agree.
So, we are in touch though, we are kind of seriously in talks with a person. I should have brought a map. I didn't think we were going this deep. So there's a power station and then there's the transformers. Your voice, man. Can you go up the peninsula,
I mean, Akir or Mason Station.
base station?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Thanks, man. So,
Aaron,
what?
I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin in 5
I was
minutes.
gonna say.
And I'd like to talk about what you expect from us for the next meeting, which is next month on Thursday evening. And we've already it's on our calendars. Is there some advanced thinking without telling us you're gonna mail us things? Where's your head on that meeting?
I actually was thinking, it's funny. We kind of went a little tangent today. And that's fine. I really like that, because it's good, you know what I mean? What I was thinking, but, you tell me which way you want to go. I was thinking, I made a bunch of copies, I'm thinking, the printer make these out, but these are just like how to write an economic development plan and like what one would look like. And then I was gonna have them make, because I'm going, when I make the actual old business plan that was done in 2000, have them make a copy of this for me, like 10 copies of this. And you guys can stop in next week. and pick
Okay.
them up. And, just so you all can look at that and just kind of get an idea of like what we're up against, And I don't think it's gonna be that difficult. I mean, this one right here isn't that difficult. It's like 22 pages, if that, and pretty easy. And I think it'll be kind of fun, actually,
When do you want us to be ready to pick those up?
next week.
So like Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday, yeah, good.
And when is our next meeting?
It's 23rd.
Is it?
Let's figure that out.
16.
Yeah, are we third Thursday every month?
Do you wanna do that? That's.
Oh, I'm sorry, I just assumed that's what we were talking
I
about.
thought we nailed that before all this, so I have done for the 16th at 6 p.m.
Oh, good. Okay.
Spit it out, Richard.
Yeah, question, if we have this thing called a charrette or whatever, strategic planning thing, can you get us the results prior to the next meeting and email them to us so that we can consider them in advance?
Mhm.
The results.
May 11th
From the-
meeting.
The May 11th charrette.
We're meeting on May 11th on that Saturday from 2 to 4, and we're doing a bunch of, we're buying things.
Yes, we can
Okay.
get
And
that,
so if we get the results, the summary
yeah.
document,
Okay.
prior to our next meeting, whether we meet on the 16th or the 23rd, it doesn't matter to me.
Sure. I can do the best I can. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
It depends on who's typing up the minutes of that meeting, so,
Not me.
Well.
I can type up something.
Yeah,
I'll type up something for the meeting regardless. It might not be the official meeting minutes.
well, I don't need the meeting minutes. What I'm interested in is that Saturday's results, where we vote for whatever the growth opportunities are. That's
I
what
can
I'm,
get you something. I might not get you all the comments.
oh, that's
Yeah.
fine, that's fine.
Just the numbers,
Just
right?
exactly,
Like
just the
the-
raw data, so we
Like people
can.
love this and nobody
Right.
cared about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So do you all want to do the 16th or the 23rd? It doesn't matter.
Oh, I thought it was the 16th, okay.
It's fine, it's fine, but
16.
16th, okay,
Here.
cool.
So it's gonna be the
Sure.
second Thursday.
The
and,
third,
and
third.
so moving forward.
16th to 3rd. Oh, yeah, I guess it is.
Figure out like what the expectation will be for the meeting, just so that we're not open-ended every
Yeah.
time. You know, is this an hour meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Is this an hour and a half meeting?
Yeah, because it's really, it's a long day for me.
Yeah.
I start at 7 in the morning, so,
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I start shutting down
yeah.
by 8, for sure. I mean, I think 7:30.
Yeah, I got the Andes on.
Yeah, and I don't buy green bananas.
Yes, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's,
I'm
they,
cool with that.
focus.
So what is it gonna go? What do you wanna set a time? Just, I mean, it might
All
be
right,
too.
7:30, and we'll try and
7:30.
get it done by 7.
Well, once we get further into things and we have an agenda to
Right.
keep to, I think it'll be a lot
Yeah.
easier to write that.
Just like our board meetings at the chamber.
Mhm.
We used,
They
they used to
become
be
more
kind of-
efficient when
Yes.
and you stay on track.
Right,
We have been all over the place.
yes.
If you have any questions, you know, how to get a hold of me, please stop in too.
Okay.
If you want, just chat.
You know where you are.
Okay. Yes. Way to go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Oh,
at 8:00.
8 o'clock on the hack. There you go.
I move we adjourn.
We all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too late, too late.
Oh, we've already done it.
That was already moved second.
Unanimous.
It was the Viking. You missed it again.
Thank you, everybody.